Good evening, everyone. So, in today's lecture, I'm going to tell you about OSI reference model. So, what is the need of this OSI reference model? As you know very well, that this comes under the network architecture. So, before moving forward, you must know about the need of this OSI reference model. So, like this model actually provides the standardization for all the types of computer network, whether we are connected with LAN, means the local area network, or MAN, the metropolitan area network, or WAN, means the wide area network. Like, means whatever kind of computer network you are using, but in the background lots of congestion is there, means lots of traffic is being generated. So to control that traffic, we must have some rules and regulation to control the traffic of the computer network. So that is why we are in a big demand of this OSI reference model. So now move forward. Like, what is the OSI model? As I have told you that this model is actually giving you the rules and regulation. But in the earlier time, like it was initiated, or you could say it was officially introduced in the year 1984 by ISO, means the International Standard Organization. And why it has been introduced? Because this model has given the theoretical model, means the logical and the conceptual model. Like what would be the rules and regulations in the background, so that like we could control the traffic of the computer network. So that is why like this model has been given the logical and the conceptual model that describes like how the information is transmitted between two or more devices across like all the types of computer network. And we could also say that it provides a structured framework for understanding the network communication. Why we could say so? Because this OSI model actually given the layered approach, means one by one. First of all, the first layer come just like physical layer. Then the physical layer would perform like its own role. After that, the next layer would come. So that is why we could say like it provides a structured framework. And what are the roles and like what are the characteristics of this OSI reference model? So the first thing is standardization. Like with the help of this OSI model, the standardization has been done. Like it actually given the number of you could say rules, or like how actually the network would like how actually the communication would be done within the network. So this actually ensures by like this OSI reference model, right? And after that, this OSI reference model has given the layered architecture, because in case of this OSI reference model, we are having 7 layers, and all the layers are perfectly aligned in the you could say structured way. And first of all, the physical layer would come. After that, we are having the next layer, that is data link layer. Then we are having the third layer, that is like you could say network layer. Then transport layer. After that, like we are having the role of you could say session layer, then presentation layer, and application layer. So just like that, we are having a very perfectly aligned layered approach into this OSI reference model. Then the third thing which we are actually having with the help of this model is the communication framework, because this model actually defines like how the data would be packaged, how actually the addressing would be done. Because we are having so many layers into it. Like IP address would be assigned, which would be the role of the data link layer. After that, transmission is to be done by the transport layer, but actually the packet forwarding is being done with the help of network layer. After that, routing is being done. After that, the data would be received on the receiver side. So that is why we could say, like, this OSI reference model is a kind of communication framework. I hope this is clear to everyone. All right, so these are actually the characteristics of this OSI reference model. And if we talk about the network communication model, then we are having the another type of model as well, that is TCP IP model, means transmission control protocol or internet protocol. This OSI means like the open system interconnection model, and this TCP IP means transmission control protocol or internet protocol. So, like, what is the difference between these two models? The OSI model has given the framework using 7 layers. And the 7 layers I have told you, the first one is the physical layer, then data link layer, then network layer, then transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, and application layer. But in case of this TCP IP model, the top 3 layers, that is known as the software layers, just like the session layer, presentation layer, and application layer, has been converted into one, has been compacted into one. So that is why we are having 5 layers into TCP IP model. Now the main point is, like, what is the difference between these two models? So, in case of OSI reference model, the theoretical approach has been given, means the conceptual model has been given, like what would be the concepts behind the background, so that like the congestion control was be done, all the traffic controlling would be done within the computer network. All right, but this TCP IP model has given the practical approach, means it has given the you could say like the practical model of this OSI reference model. Practically, it has been done in case of TCP IP. So this is the theoretical model, and this is the practical model. Means the actual implementation of all the layers has been done in TCP IP model. So this is the actual difference between these two models. So in the later lectures, I'll tell you what is the difference between these two models in detail. But right now, the today's lecture is totally focused on OSI model. So that is why now I would tell you like how actually this OSI model would work with the help of these 7 layers. So the first layer, that is all about physical layer, which is actually responsible for the raw bit transmission. Then data link layer is there, which is actually having the responsibility for node to node data transfer. Then network layer, that is the third layer of this OSI reference model, and it gives the logical addressing, and it is responsible for routing. Then fourth layer, that is the transport layer, that is responsible for the reliable data delivery. Then fifth layer, that is session layer. Sixth layer is presentation layer, and seventh layer is all about the application layer. So one by one, I'll tell you. It was developed by like ISO, the International Standard Organization, like so that like you could say we could make the like transmission flow in control. So that is why. Now the first layer, that is physical layer, as the core function of physical layer says that it transmits the raw bits over physical media by converting the digital data into electrical, optical, or radio signals. That means, like, what is the meaning of it? So like we could say in case of physical layer, like the key responsibility of physical layer is totally deals with the, you could say, the physical devices. In case of physical layer, we deals with cables, connectors, voltage, or the computers. Means first of all we need to make the connections between the physical devices. Let us suppose you want to connect your computer with the server within the computer lab. So first of all, the very first thing which you needed is the cables, with the help of which you would get connected with the another computer. Then the another thing, we would be in a need of networking devices, means how we could use the internet connection within our devices. So this is totally based on or the responsibility of physical layer. And the another responsibility of the physical layer defines hardware specification. Means obviously we need the hardware so that we could use internet services on our computer. Let us suppose we must have the hub connection and we must have the Ethernet connection. Means what type of networking devices we are using to use the internet facility. Then the third thing, that is it handles the data rate and modulation. So, how actually this physical layer is responsible to handle the data rate and the modulation. So, data rate means, everyone just note it down if you are noting. Like data, what do you mean by data rate? Data rate means the number of bits which are transmitted per second. Generally, we just say BPS. BPS means bits per seconds. So, like this physical layer is responsible, like we could say, like what actually the data rate or the transmission rate would be. Means either it is 10 Mbps or it is 100 Mbps or 1 Gbps. So this is actually the transmission rate or the data rate, we could say. So physical layer is responsible actually for defining the data rate. I hope you have noted down. Then the next thing or the next responsibility of physical layer is managing the physical topologies. So yes, means the like this layer manage the topologies because it wraps the physical layout of the network devices and the transmission media. So that is why we could say that this physical layer is responsible to manage the physical topology. I hope this is clear, like how actually this physical layer is working in the background of computer network. And in case of this physical layer, the main role of hubs is there, repeaters, network interface card, and cables actually plays the main important role within the physical layer to make the connection between the devices so that we could use the internet facility. After that, the next layer, that is data link layer. Actually, these three layers are called as hardware layers. So that is why, like, I'm just explaining all these three layers into one interface. All right. So just note it down. These three layers actually comes under the hardware. After that, we are having the next layer, that is data link. Like the next layer would be the transport layer, means the fourth layer. And transport layer is actually known as the heart of the OSI model. After that, all the layers comes under the software layers. So now the role of data link layer. So the core function of data link layer is node to node delivery. Node to node means like hop to hop delivery, and hop means the computers or the networking devices, like or the computers, or you could say like the smart computer devices which you are adding within the computer network. So, data link layer provides reliable node to node data transfer using MAC addresses for device identification. So, why MAC addresses? As it uses this MAC address means like device unique address for the identification purpose. So, this data link layer actually deals like with the MAC address, because to make the connection between sender and receiver we use physical address of the device. So that is why this MAC address is added in the frame header of the message, because once we just transmit the message over the computer network, then what happens, then the frame would be prepared by the sender. All right. So in case of that frame, first of all, like the address of the, you could say, the address of the receiver is being added into the frame header. So that is why this data link layer uses the MAC address of the device. I think this is clear to everyone. So now the next key responsibility, that is error detection. So everyone just note it down, like why and how the data link layer is responsible for error detection. So error detection means, like you could say, once the link and the node connection is set, right? Once the node connection is set, then the DLL actually detects the transmission error. Okay, is there any transmission error? So yes, like if it mismatch, then the frame is discarded. So that is why this data link layer checks the error detection as well. After that, the next key responsibility of this data link layer is like to it breaks the data into frames. So like once the frame is prepared, then first of all the header is added. After that, the payload is added. Payload means the actual data. After that, the trailer would be added. So just like that, data link layer actually maintains the data into frames. Then the next key responsibility of the data link layer, that is, it manages the medium access. So how actually it manages the medium access? Like how the devices share the transmission medium. Means if you are using the Ethernet facility within your computers, so what would be the transmission medium? So at that time, we are having so many techniques. So if we are talking about Ethernet, then CSMA CD would be used. So you would like study this topic in the later section. So till now, you just understand like how actually the data link layer is working with the help of these key responsibilities. So here, in case of data link layer, the devices which plays a very important role is the switches, bridges, and obviously all the networking devices generally comes and performs the responsibility over here. After that, the role of network layer. So it is actually having the main responsibility of logical addressing and routing and how actually it manages. So yes, it uses the IP addresses first of all for routing purpose because it assigns the IP address first of all. And like once you wants to transmit the data from one network to another network, then you know very well that if we wants to transmit the message in different network, then we must use routers because if we are transmitting the file within the same network, then switches could work. But if you are transmitting the files over a different class network, then switches would not perform. So that is why now the role of routers would come over here because the network type could be LAN, WAN, MAN, PAN. So that is why. Now router plays a very important role over here. So first of all, IP addressing would be done. Means the router uses IP addresses first of all, so that like the data packets could move across the computer network. That is why. After that, it determines the best path for destination. Means what do you mean by this? Like it determines the best path for destination because this network layer actually selects the optimal route for data transmission. Like what would be the best path? That is why. So now the third key responsibility, that is like it manages the routing table. So yes, network layer needs to prepare the routing table. Like what would be the destination address where you want to send the data packet. Then what would be the next hop address? Means is there any other email address which like where you needs to transfer your file? So if yes, so then the next home address would also be attached into this routing table. So yes, it manage the routing table as well. After that, we are having packet forwarding. So how actually this network layer performs packet forwarding? So like we could say packet forwarding means, what do I mean by packet forwarding? Packet forwarding means moving the data packets from one network to another network. So, like if there would be any confusion, like who actually perform this packet forwarding, either network layer or the data or the transport layer. So yes, you could say like network. This packet forwarding is being done by network layer, not by the transport layer, because packet forwarding means like you wants to move the packets from one network to another. But yes, transport layer is responsible ki whether this packet has been received on the receiver end, right? So that is actually the work of transport layer. But here we are just talking about packet forwarding. So packet forwarding is being done by network layer. right? So lots of students get confused whether packet forwarding is the role of network layer or the transport layer. So everyone just make sure ki this packet forwarding is done by network layer. So now the next layer, transport layer, that is the main heart of the OSI reference model. So yes, transport layer is actually responsible for reliable or fast delivery. So, yes, it ensures reliable or fast delivery of data between AND systems using TCP and UDP protocol. Between TCP and the UDP protocol. So, TCP means transmission control protocol and UDP means user datagram protocol. These are the actual protocols who are responsible for transporting the packet from one location or to another location, means from one computer to another computer. So the first key responsibility of this transport layer is segmentation. So yes, segmentation means like it breaks the data into segments. Like this is the first segment which needs to be transferred. This is the second next segment, the next segment. So the complete message, if you are having the file of, you could say around 32 KB or 32 MB. So first of all, it would be divided into segments. After that, it would be forwarded. So this is one of the key responsibility of transport layer. Then flow control. So yes, we like to flow control means how actually the data would be transferred. So in case of this flow control, we are having so many mechanism. Like one of them is sliding window mechanism. So in case of this, once the data packet has been transferred, so as soon as it would receive on the receiver end, then acknowledgement would be sent back. So that is actually flow control is done using the transport layer. Then the next responsibility is error recovery. So yes, transport layer is responsible for error recovery. Like error detection is the work of the previous layer. But here, let us suppose error detection is being done. So how to do the recovery of it? So if like a transport layer would do the recovery, let us suppose you are sending the file that was very large. So after that, like if the packet would get destroyed, I mean some of the like it would retransmit the file. So that is how the transport layer would do the error recovery into it. After that, end-to-end transmission. So this transport layer is actually responsible for the packet delivery on the receiver end. Let us suppose you haven't ordered something from Amazon or from any like e-commerce website. So now, let us suppose you have paid for that order. So now that company is responsible, like that packet assignment has been done through the transport company, right? So now the work has been done by that company, but now the transport company is responsible for end-to-end end-to-end delivery of that data packet. So this is how the transport layer would work. After that, like the next layer, that is session layer. So how actually the session layer would work? So session layer is actually responsible like for the session management, means it establishes and it manages and terminates the sessions between the applications on different devices. So like in case of session layer, we are having so many responsibility, just like it controls like how the data can be communicated, means either in the full duplex mode, means full duplex means both of the sender and receiver could communicate with each other, either in half duplex mode, means only one side transmission could be done. So this is the actual key responsibility of the session layer. Then the next key point of this session layer is the session recovery points. So what do you mean by session recovery? This is one of the most important point. Like what do you mean by checkpoints? So everyone just take a pen and note it down. What do you mean by checkpoints? So checkpoints means like it inserts the checkpoints during the long data transfer. Let us suppose there is a very long or large file. So now, if like you have been made some of the checkpoints, yes, the file has been downloaded till this end. To now, if the like network has been lost, so as soon as the network would come, then the resuming would be done of that large file download after interruption. All right, so this is actually known as checkpoints. So this is the main responsibility of session layer. After that, the next responsibility of session layer, that is authentication. So authentication means the user verification, and user verification means like it verifies the user identity before starting any of the session. Let us suppose if you wants to start uh like you could say, if he wants to start like video calling, then first of all the identity, the verification would be done, like from which number you wants to make the video call, whether with the help of phone number, right, whether with the help of any user id, right. So it verifies the user identity before starting any of the session. So it uses username, password, or the session token for that purpose. After that, the next key responsibility of session layer, that is reconnection. So reconnection means re-establishment of the connection. So let us suppose the session has been destroyed, right? So now this session layer is responsible to re-establishes the connection. So this is one of the most important point of session layer. Now the last two layers, that is presentation layer and application layer. So presentation layer, and what are the key responsibilities of this presentation layer? So presentation layer is responsible for translating, encrypting, and for formats data formats to ensure it's readable for the application layer. So how actually it would work? So here we are saying the data translation. What do you mean by data translation? Translation means like what is like the data format conversion. Means like it converts the data between different formats. So system can understand each other. So you could say like when text message you have been sent from Windows system. So it would be converted into the standard format if you wants to read it on the Linux system. This is actually translation of data format. Then encryption, the presentation layer is responsible for encryption. How, if you could say so? So yes, encryption means it encrypts the data before transmission takes place. Then it decrypts the data at the receiver end. So here, the main responsibility of SSL and TLS comes because they both actually encrypts the data during a hypertext transfer protocol communication, means HTTP communication. So what do you mean by SSL over here? SSL means secure socket layer. And what do you mean by TLS over here? TLS means the transport layer security. So if you are doing the HTTP, means the web browsing connection or web browsing transmission, then encryption is needed. So these two layers would be responsible for that purpose. Then presentation layer is also responsible for compression. What do you mean by compression now? Compression means like it reduces the data size before transmission, but it decompresses as well at the receiver side so that the message could be readable at the receiver end. I hope this is clear to everyone. So now the next responsibility of presentation layer, that is formatting. Formatting means like to make the data readable, just like it ensures like data is presented in a readable or usable format, just like JPG format is used for image format, and we could say MP3 is used for .mp3 is used for audio format. Then DOCX is used for text format. So just like that, this presentation layer is responsible for the data formatting as well, so that it could be readable at the receiver end. So yes, the security functions of this presentation layer, like it handles the encryption and decryption. This is one of the most important point. It also ensures the data confidentiality, like who's actually using, uh, like or making the data transfer. and it also provides the integrity during the transmission. Now, the last layer, that is the application layer. So, application layer is one of the most important layer because this is the end user layer. Means the user on the receiver end is using actually application layer like to use or to receive all the messages. So these are the most common protocols which are used under this application layer. These are the most important protocol. Just like HTTP protocol is used for web browsing. As soon as we would open the browser, then these protocols get activated, just like hypertext transfer protocol. As soon as you would try to send the mail, then SMTP protocol would get enabled, just like simple mail transfer protocol. If you want to attach some of the files within your mail, then this FTP protocol, file transfer protocol, would get activated. Then domain name server protocol. This is actually the like defines the name resolution. So these are only few of the protocols. But in the background, at application layer, we are having so many protocols which are actually working in the background. So I'm just telling you the key responsibility of this application layer. As you know very well that it acts as an interface between the software and the computer network. So this is one of the important layer. So now just come directly onto the key responsibility of it. So the first key responsibility is the network services. So yes, like once we are using email services, web services, file transfer, then the application layer provides the network-based services directly to the user. By using the web browsing, we are using browser. So browser is one kind of application software. That is why we could say, like if we are using any other services on the network, just like you are using the message transmission on WhatsApp, then we must have that dedicated software on the end user. Then the next responsibility of application layer is protocol support. So yes, if we talk about protocol support, then I've already told you how actually these protocols works behind the application layer, because the actual transmission is being taking place using these protocols. So that is why these are actually the most important protocol support is actually being done with the help of this application layer. Then last but not the least, like user interface. Actually, this application layer provides a user interface, means direct app interaction. Means we could say, like it allows the softwares to access the internet services. Just like we use so many softwares so that the message could be received on the end user side. So this is how actually the application layer performs its most important role within the OSI reference model. So hope this is clear to everyone. So if you are having any query, so you could note it down in the comment section. I hope you have liked it. So thank you. Thank you everyone.